One, it's to understand the people in front of them. Sometimes we have our own set agendas. I have a syllabus which I expect to cover through 10 weeks. But then I get to class and the class is different than I imagined. How will I deal with that? There are topics which I want to cover, but this probably is not the audience for it. I cannot simply insist on you must understand it. Maybe they're not in the place to understand it at this point. Maybe another time will come when they will understand it. Not packing people into boxes that we imagine for them. At least for what I teach, I think that in trying to engage with students and letting them understand some of the issues I present to them, is necessary to have a buy-in from them. We don't want people to resist what we are saying. In a sense, what we do is more like indoctrination, trying to tell people what to do and what to think. And I try to resist that. I should not tell people how to think. My view of the world according to me, may be right, but I will invite people to think about it, not necessarily just tell them and throw it at them. So in engaging with students in very complex issues, I think that we first of all need to understand who we're dealing with, the audience, the class, and then the surrounding structures. So the conversations and the issues that we face in society are very complex today. And the more we go on, the more complex they become. And for instance, in some states now in the US, there are agitations about teaching critical race theory and things like that. And because the larger society is interfering with these learning processes, so we have to design our own form of resistance to what society is trying to push at us, trying to say that we can only think in certain ways, we can only teach certain ways, and some teachings are out of bounds and things like that. And history has to be taught in a particular way. And it's frustrating enough to hear students say, why am I learning about this for the first time? And part of the reason is that we don't want to have those difficult conversations. We just try to avoid them. A couple of years back, a student from the middle school wrote me asking about what to do with the settler issues and how the treatment of Native Americans, and particularly in Washington State. And I tried to respond as best as I could, because the students in middle school, much likely the person's in college now. But the thing is that person cannot be in college now and hear about those stories and say, oh, I'm hearing about them for the first time. Those things were introduced much earlier to the student. So if we have to deal with those difficult issues, we remember that there is an environment in which we are operating, and then invite the students also, what do they think, as opposed to, this is it. You can essentially tell people what you want to tell them by asking questions. You can get them to think about it that way, as opposed to being very prescriptive, because sometimes people are resistant to people telling them what to do. But you can tell them what to do by asking them to think about issues, and then your thoughts become their thoughts. Then it's easier for the instructor as well. But if it's like, you must understand this, you must get it now, sorry, I don't want to get it. There's freedom, and that's what I teach, freedom.